shark nets only go down a couple of metres. Sharks swim around the nets and under and over. A lot of sharks have been caught on the inside coming out, so it's a false sense of security. We want a good solution here, and shark nets is not the solution.
What's your solution? Don't go in the water.
The solution is
don't go in the water.
Sonar, it's new technology.
Yeah, right. It doesn't work right there, mum.
Fear into the water. It's getting out of the fear mentality.
If they deter a few, then all the better. In 12 months you'll be talking about
no one looks at the fact that they get replaced by other sharks.
You're meant to be a wise old man. Listen to yourself.
Mate, I'm listening to myself. I voted for the nets. I'm proud of it.
That's stupid.
I'm proud of it. People are.
You're an idiot.
Am I an idiot? Okay, well I'm on council. I voted for the nets, mate.
Shame on you.
Yeah, shame on you, mate. You wait till there's another 4 years.
You ought to be ashamed
Next 12 months you'll be
shame on you.
species control.
We've got all the information there. There's no sign of what evidence going.
Are you aware that it takes 15 minutes to half an hour for a sea turtle to drown when it's under stress? Are you aware of that fact? Are you aware that there are hawksbill turtles that are critically endangered
20 minutes to kill a dolphin.
that inhabit this area, that are found regularly along the coast of northern New South Wales, that will now become more endangered because they can become trapped in these shark nets?
70 local dolphins.
Monitor that, and we are doing everything possible. I mean, look,
No, you're not.
No, you're not.
Not doing everything possible.
No, you're not.
The day that I heard about the Premier coming, I remember the exact moment I thought, oh, I'll throw a shark net over the Premier so he gets to feel what it's like being trapped in a shark net, and experience what it's like to look through the shark nets and to feel what it's like for the animals that get caught up in it. Nets aren't for the ocean. Let the animals swim free.
A common misconception is that the net is a barrier, maybe from headland to headland to fence in a section of ocean, and in reality it's like a fishing net. It's about 6 metres tall in 12 metres of water and 120 metres long in possibly kilometres of beach. So it's just little sections of net, and the aim of those nets is to catch and kill.
Language is a powerful thing. So how you write a story, you can, sensationalise it by using certain terminology of words like, the shark is stalking surfers, or showing like all these photos of shark teeth coming at you. It's just pure manipulation of like, yes, you need to have that shark net, otherwise this could happen to you.
You're kind of conditioned to be scared of sharks, so you grow up watching things like Jaws, and then when you go in the ocean you hear that soundtrack in your head and you're told to be scared. The whole way that sharks are portrayed in the media, all the language used around sharks. So dogs play and dolphins frolic and sharks attack. There's no naturally occurring way that those words go together. It's just something that's been created. People need to think more critically about what they're reading in the media and realise that that gnarly looking picture of a shark with that crazy scary headline with some pun about sharks is not a factual representation of what's going on in the ocean. It's just a way for the media and the newspaper to sell newspapers and to make it look more interesting. It's not the facts.
The minute you mention shark attack, everyone goes crazy, in the media as well as the audience. One Sydney paper put this photo of this massive shark being attacked, like this massive shark on a ship, that this fisherman had caught this shark, and they said that it was off the Tweed coast. And I go, well, I think I need to ring up the DPI first to confirm whether they did catch the shark. As it turned out, it wasn't off the Tweed coast, it was off a boat in Taiwan. So way off the mark. But hey, it scared the bejesus out of everybody, which is what they wanted. But I think you have to be responsible and be sensible and not create this fear mania, because out of fear, you don't get reasonable conclusions to a problem.
Most of us have all grown up under the Jaws ideology, where there's a rogue thing that hangs out, we really didn't know anything about shark education. Most of us dismissed it because the instances were so rare, we kind of got over it, although some probably never got in the water because of that Jaws sort of sensationalism. You've got to look with a bit of irony, the fact that we all consider ourselves more enlightened than we were in the 60s. We all look back and think, what on earth were we doing? You know, almost driving an incredibly honourable species almost to extinction in the name of the economy and jobs. And yet there's not much difference really when, if instead of it's whaling and it's now tourism, that what marine creatures are we now prepared to kill in the name of the economy and jobs? Have we progressed quite as far as we like to think?
So when the nets were originally put in the 30s, the reason they were put in was to stop sharks from setting up territories, because in those days we thought that sharks stayed in one area and that was their little home, that was their territory, and they didn't move around. And now we know that sharks are highly migratory. Most species are highly migratory. So they don't deter sharks from setting up territories. They don't make the beaches any safer, and there's absolutely no evidence that they've decreased the number of shark encounters at all.
A lot of surfers, particularly in Ballina, have been really calling for it. Even some pretty well-known surfers in Byron have done it as well, which I've got to say I find quite fascinating that someone can spend so long in that environment by choice and have such incredibly exhilarating, almost spiritual relationships with that ocean environment, and then decide that it's okay that environment can be damaged for them to keep doing it. I find it a very hard to comprehend reality. It's hard not to see people just being a bit selfish and wanting to do their hobby.
In south of Ballina, we're so close to a marine reserve that we're capturing a lot of the animals that have been used in this area for resting, feeding and reproduction. Marine reserves are part of the solution. In fact, the biggest problem with sharks now is the overfishing. And when you're fishing all their food, of course we're going to create a probability or a chance of an interaction between sharks and humans in a higher level. So the deployment of shark nets so close to marine reserves creates a huge problem for all the marine fauna that finds this little haven of protection in these small areas. We have like 0.01% of marine reserves all over the planet.
For us, there's no doubt a marine park in Byron, in Cape Byron especially, is worth significant amounts of money. I mean, it's one of the best dive spots in Australia. I mean, it's combination of the colder southern waters and the warmer northern waters brings a diversity of species which is quite unique. You know, big species like your rays and your sharks, your dolphins and turtles, and then with your sort of coral, more based, it really is a significant dive spot. So again, if that's jeopardised, that's a massive blow. Apart from the fact, of course, that it is also considered Australia's best land-based whale watching site. What would it be worth if all of a sudden a whale gets caught in a net and it's flashing out there and we're watching a whale die before our eyes, in a sense? I'm not too sure economically that'd be so brilliant.
There's plenty of documented evidence during the migration of the whales up the coast from the Antarctic feeding grounds, where the mothers are travelling with their newborn babies. Babies are often being entangled in nets and in some cases drowning before rescue. There was a case of a Bruder's whale here off the coast, off the Gold Coast, who was seen alive in shark nets entangled, but the authorities never came to the assistance, although called by a surfer to come and help save that whale from drowning. That whale subsequently drowned and was lying on the bottom of the sea. These shark nets are creating way more problems than they are ever seeking to solve. And we need to look at new ways with technology to be able to coexist in the sea with sharks, with all the other animals that are there.
In an area of Cape Town where there were a spate of shark attacks, and there are big great whites at Cape Town, since they've established their shark spotting program, there hasn't been one incident involving a shark. So it's a very successful, proven method of shark mitigation. It's not just about looking for sharks, it's also about education. It's also about collecting data of ocean conditions. We'll be looking at things like the number of bait balls and the size of bait balls, mullet runs and the big whale migration we have up and down the coast to see what impact they have on shark numbers. It's ironic that we were set up to cover the beaches between Lennox and Ballina, The Mayor of Ballina was very supportive initially, but now he's turned his back on us in favour of the nets.
Yeah, but the Mayor's opposed to the nets.
Yeah, but I did support the voting. Yeah.
So you just said opposite. You just said that you don't support it.
Yeah, like the rest of them.
So now Simon Richardson, the Mayor of Byron, he's come to our assistance, to our aid, because he wants us to help his beachgoers.
First of all, I love the idea of an aerial surveillance, like a shark watch program, because not only is it effective, but it's community looking after community. And really what it is in a nutshell is a group of 4 who are working together on a beach, and they can cover a fair chunk of the beach because it's drone based. So you'll have one person who's operating the drone, one person looking at a screen to see the footage from the drone, one person with a pair of binoculars to sort of, who are trained to sort of spot, to perhaps direct the drone to go somewhere, and also be the eyes as the drone, periodically is getting recharged. And then one person sort of on the beach, which is closer to the surfers and a bit more of an interface, both education based, but also to be able to alert. So that's the model, and I think the exciting thing about the model, not only is it quite cost efficient, but it's completely scalable. I mean, there's no reason why, like Surf Lifesaving, if this found residents in the community, it could be every beach in Australia and it could go global.
It's known that shark incidents do occur at netted beaches. The figure I've heard is that something like 19 incidents in beaches between Wollongong and Newcastle have occurred in the last 10 years. There haven't been any deaths, but sharks obviously get into those netted areas, so it's not an effective way to deal with the problem. Shark Watch is the best method, we feel, of shark mitigation, non-lethal shark mitigation. Nets, for example, have a big impact on marine creatures. Shark Watch doesn't. So it's a much better system for the ocean, for the health of the ocean, for beachgoers as well, for people who live near the coast and visit the coast and want to enjoy the beauty of our oceans.